Okay, I've got one of my cronies here helping me wash the block and clean up some of these things we need to clean up. The oil pan's a little bent up. We've all done this before where you tighten it up too much, and I think I'm going to get Joe in here, tell him to hammer that back down. Even the windage tray, I've never seen a windage tray bent, but it needs a little help. It's time to file some rings. You probably can't see it in that camera, but this is that nasty grinding dust. You don't want that in your engine. That's why, I mean, you want to grind the rings before you wash the block. But since one of my cronies came by yesterday and wanted to help, I didn't want him sitting around while I did this, so we went ahead and washed the block. Now, you're going to have to be very careful to not get any of this nasty dust anywhere near your engine. And when you buy race pistons, you know, they come with race rings, and they're going to be filed to fit. They're going to be 5 thousandths oversize. So you have to file them down to get where you want to be. But since this engine is 3 over instead of, in other words, if you buy 4.25 pistons, the rings are going to be 4.255, and you've got to file down that difference. But since this is already 3 over, you don't have to file as much, which is good for lazy people like me. So they want 19, because this is only a 425 bore instead of a 4500. And we're not there yet, but we've got about we've got 16 or so. The 19 won't go anyway. Yeah, 16 is, yeah. So 3 more thousandths to go. And this is the second ring, so this is iron, and it cuts real easy, you know. When you get to those top rings that are steel, well, they're not as fun, but this is not too bad. I think I said 19, but that's for the top ring, and most people make this one 2 thousandths bigger. So you square it up with this and then reach in here and pull the ring back up to it. And hopefully we'll be where we want to be. We're good. On to the next one. When you get done filing a ring, I know, even if you're 20 years old, you need an optimizer. So what you want to look at is where you filed. Now, I only file one side of the ring. That way, if I don't get it absolutely perfectly square, it's only one side that's not perfect instead of 2. Then you can double your error. So, after you file it, you can run. I do the wheel this way, so that's going to put the burr down here and out here. So what's my fingernail? See it stop right there? That means there's a burr there. So you take your, this is a hard Arkansas oil stone, but any kind of honing stone will work. Just get something very fine. But you're not trying to remove anything off of this ring. You're not even trying to touch it. All you want rid of is that tiny little burr that you made. And you want to just, I can feel it. There it is. I can feel it. And you want to, until you just file that down, just the burr, not the ring, until your fingernail comes off of there. There's a tiny little something there. That's all you're trying to do, is just fix what you messed up. Get your fingernail to come off there and don't touch that ring. I'm sure there was nothing wrong with this oil pump, but I went ahead and took it apart and looked at everything. Everything looks good. Normally you wouldn't be working on it now, but the reason we are is because we were going to paint it on the block, and so I wanted to go ahead and get it put back together. This kit from Mylodon, this 21591, gives you, you've got 3 O-rings on the main body. All the O-rings are on the main body. You have that one there, that one there, and that one there. And the only thing you don't get is the gasket, this Velcro 3122, that goes on the, and I usually don't see these leaking, but you might as well replace it anyway. But everything looked great in there. I don't know which pumps come with this sexy pin to keep it from spinning on the shaft, but I do like that. I don't know if this, it's a little different, but I don't know of a milling that would guarantee you that you got that pin in there. But I'm just going to put this together and put it on there so we can go ahead and paint it. And it's just got a couple spots that need a little love. There was a guy on one of the forums that he bought this kit, but no matter what brand kit it was, but I think it was this one. But now we know the body's got 3 O-rings, but he couldn't figure out which was which on these two. But if you try them both, you'll see that this one fits in there pretty good. But this one, that just looks wrong in every way. So don't let this confuse you. Just because they're almost the same size, you know that this one didn't fit there good, and you know that it does fit there good. Then you stick one in there and it fits in there perfect. Now these 2 O-rings, you have to be careful on this. You can't mess this up. But the Mylodon kit gives you the stock O-ring, and it gives you the O-ring for their 815 and their 814 pumps, which takes a skinnier O-ring. And they tell you right here that the big one is for the factory and the milling pumps. The thinner one is for the Mylodon 14 and 15. So you take the one that's not the skinny one, and you put that in there. Doesn't look like it sticks up much, does it? But so don't get confused on this O-ring and this O-ring being close, and don't get confused on this because the skinny one is for the Mylodon. It takes a special O-ring. You can give this to one of your racer buddies when he comes by, because he may need it someday. Because you know you can't buy that if you needed one. If you remember, the crank in this 426 Hemi crate motor has a lot of lines in it. Don't know exactly what's going on here, but You've probably heard of the hillbilly technique to polish a crank, and I kind of like it, if you know what I mean. This, you can feel this with your fingernail. And I worked about 60 seconds on this one with some 1500, and you can't feel anything there. You can kind of see something, but you can't feel anything. And this 1600 is not, or 1500 is not going to take anything, any metal away. We're not trying to remove any metal. We're just trying to make it feel good. So let me get set up and we'll do another one. This one right here, you feel more on the sides than you do in the middle, but you're definitely feeling something. Let me get set up here. The man says to spray your 1500 with WD-40 good. It's amazing how this works, but in 60 seconds, we shouldn't have near as much feel, or any probably. You still might see some lines there, and I'm still feeling something, especially right there. But I think we did some good improvement. This is the one that the bearings looked so bad in, and so I think we ought to do whatever we can to make it feel better. I think we've helped it out. I've got half of the double spiral locks in. I didn't film that because I didn't think you wanted to listen to me screaming for 2 hours. That's so brutal on your thumbs trying to push those in there. It's terrible. But I put rings on one piston to check the pull through the cylinder and see how many pounds of resistance they have. But this is mostly done. I think the plan is I'm supposed to put the rods on the pistons, and Joe's going to come over Monday and we're going to put the short block together. It's too bad we don't have any heads. They're going to be at least another week. Otherwise, we could put the whole thing together. It had 8 pounds with the oil ring only, and with all 3 rings, looks like about 13. I polished the rest of these journals and everything looks good. You can still see a little bit of lines, but you can't really feel anything. You can get a little bit with your fingernail. You know there's something there on some of them. I redid this one. You know, it still had a little bit of vinyl record groove right there. And so I redid it, and now there's nothing there. And I checked them with a mic, and they're the exact same measurement they were before. There was no metal removal. 1500 won't really do that for 60 seconds, but still, it was interesting. That's a very good looking crankshaft. You have no way of knowing who Mopar got to make these for them. but it does look very good.